Hello friend and welcome back to my channel, Blue Nose Trading. My name is Tori Solis and today I'm going to be testing Dragon's Eye from Speedball. I'll be testing this glaze on 7 different clay body test tiles as well as on a textured white stoneware mug. This is a cone 6 glaze that's listed as lead-free and dinnerware safe by the manufacturer. Before I open this glaze, I want to make sure that it's mixed extremely well. I'll start by giving the jar a good shake, making sure to use my thumbs to secure the lid so I don't end up with a face full of glaze. After a firm shaking, I like to mix up my glazes with an egg beater attached to a power drill. After mixing the glaze with an egg beater attachment, you want to make sure that there isn't any mineral material clumped up at the bottom. You want your glaze to be thoroughly mixed, and if you have clumped up mineral at the bottom, a glaze may not perform consistently or as intended. I'm going to be brushing glaze onto my test tiles. I brushed my test tiles in 1, 2, and 3 coats with the thickest coat at the top of the tile. I fired my tiles hanging on a high alumina rod to see how the glaze will perform on a vertical surface. In this way, I'm testing for running. With the thickest coat of glaze at the top of the tile, if a glaze is going to run, it's got somewhere to go. I like to test glazes on lots of different clay bodies to get a general idea of how a glaze is going to behave on different colors and surfaces. Everyone out there is working with a different kind of clay, and maybe one of these test tiles can help you guess at what might happen for you. As always, I strongly recommend that you make your own test tiles and fire them in your own kiln. Fire your tiles exactly how you would fire your normal work. There are a lot of different factors that go into how a glaze is going to turn out. The best way to see how a glaze is going to work for you, in your kiln, on your clay, with your application process, is to do your own testing. Looking at this textured white stoneware mug, this glaze is a vibrant blue-violet with black modeling. There's an almost iridescent sheen to the surface of this glaze. This is a thick glaze that mostly muted out the texture over the bottom half of the mug. There was some slight fluid movement to the glaze and a drip formed under the handle. This glaze did not run off the pot though, which is good. The drip has a slightly bubbly texture, but nothing that makes it unworkable. Looking at the white stoneware test tile, you can see that there's much more modeling pattern in the section of the tile that received 3 coats of glaze. The modeling has a red tone to it, which is quite nice. The glaze on this tile was slightly fluid, but it didn't show any signs of running. Results on Laguna B-Mix are much the same, with no sign of running. The surface is glossy, and there was modeling in both areas of 2 and 3 coats of application on this tile. This glaze was a bit more fluid on Laguna Frost Porcelain, but nothing too serious. The colors are vibrant, and you can see mottled spots of black flecked with a ruby red. There's a bit of a bubbly texture in areas where the glaze pooled up. On my speckled clay body, the modeling looks great. The glaze is slightly fluid without any serious running, and is breaking well over the texture on the upper section of the tile, although the glaze flowed down the tile and muted out the texture on the lower half. The speckles of the clay are completely negated. The Laguna Speckled Buff tile is also looking great with great color. The glaze is slightly fluid and did break over the texture on nearly the entire tile. The speckles are muted out, and you have more of the mottled effect in areas of thicker application. The red stoneware tile has the smoothest surface on a tile so far. The color is consistent, the glaze is only slightly fluid, and most of the texture has been washed out. On Laguna B3 Black, this glaze looks much the same as it did on previous tiles, which really speaks to the versatility and consistency of this glaze. On every tile tested, we're getting a consistent blue-violet with a modeling that has black and sometimes little flecks of ruby red. All around this glaze is a consistent blue-violet with a modeling that is black and sometimes has hints of a ruby red. This glaze is slightly fluid but seems more likely to pool than run off the pot. In areas of thicker application, you get a consistent modeling effect, but when the application is overly thick, the surface can have a slightly bubbly texture. This glaze mutes out textures and seems to provide a consistent color and pattern on most clay bodies. This is a beautiful glaze that I'm sure you can make use of in your studio. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I hope you enjoyed learning more about this glaze and can make use of this information in your own studio. If you'd like to help support my channel so I can get more glazes to test for you, consider becoming a member of my channel right here on YouTube. If you'd like to see all the ceramics I currently have available for sale, visit my website, bluenosetrading.com. If you want to stick around for more art videos, be sure to subscribe to this channel, Blue Nose Trading. Thank you so much for being here until the end of the video. Remember that you have great ideas that are worth exploring, drink enough water, and I will see y'all in the next video.